To build a catapult, you'll need the following. You'll need two 15-inch long 2x4s, three 18-inch long 2x4s, two 36-inch long 2x4s, and one 30-inch long 2x4. You'll also need two 1-inch thick dowels that are 12 inches long. You'll need a 2x2 that is 15 inches long. You'll need two plywood triangles that have already been cut. As far as tools, you'll need a tape measure to measure your pieces. Make sure you have the right one. You'll also want a ruler to draw straight lines. You get a drill, a hammer, a clamp, 20 feet of rope, 1/4 inch thick. For your little metal bits, you'll need 2.5 inch screws, 1.5 inch nails, 1 inch screws, a 1 inch drill bit, 1/2 inch drill bit, Phillips head drill bit, and an 1/8 inch drill bit.
So to start off with, we'll build a base for the catapult. That takes two of the 36-inch 2x4s and two of the 15-inch 2x4s. To begin with, you need to mark where to put screws to hold the base together. To do this, measure in from the end 3/4 inch and make a mark. Go to the other side of the 2x4, measure in 3/4 inch, and make a mark. And then draw a line that connects those two marks. Then to know exactly where to put the screw, you measure down from the top 3/4 inch and you make a little plus sign. And then from the bottom you also measure up 3/4 inch and make a plus sign. That's where we'll drill the holes to help put in the screws. We'll do this to all ends of these boards. All right, we're going to drill pilot holes to help putting the screws go faster. To do that, have the little marks that you just marked off at the ends extend over the edge of the lab bench. Take your clamp, squeeze it down tight so that the board doesn't move. With your safety glasses on, stand your drill straight up at the mark. Squeeze gently to get it going, and then squeeze fast and drill through. Again, squeeze gently to get your hole started, and then squeeze quickly to make the drill drive all the way through. And you'll do that to both ends of both 36-inch boards. All right, now we'll attach the first two end pieces that are 15 inches long to the 36-inch frame boards. To do that, it's nice to have friends to help you, but stand them up kind of like this. And then position them so that the ends are very nicely lined up on both ends. Have everything be standing up nice and straight. And then with a clamp, put the clamp about 5 inches from one end. Tighten it up just a little bit. If the ends get a little bit jagged, which is okay, they will, just give them a gentle little tap until everything's back in nice lined up spots. Do that on both ends. And then with a 2.5 inch screw, you'll drill through the long board into the short board. To do this, start with a slow speed on your drill and push hard. That'll drive it right in. Move over to the other end and screw those in as well. Then you disconnect the clamp, turn it over, and screw the other 36-inch piece on the other side using the clamp again. All building projects, the more time you spend getting everything straight, the better it'll turn out. And with that, we have the base of the catapult or trebuchet done. All right, so now we're going to add on the first cross piece upright for the catapult. To do this, you take the frame that you made and you hang it over the edge of the bench, so it just barely hangs in there. Take your tape measure. From the end, you measure back 15 inches and make a mark with a pencil. Put the tape measure away. Then take an 18-inch piece of the 2x4 and line the back edge up with the mark you just made. And you take the clamp, stretch it out, and clamp it together. So hold it nice and tight in place. Then we get one of the triangular pieces of plywood. Have the 15-inch edge go along the bottom of the frame. If you measured correctly, the point of the triangle should just about reach the front of the frame. And then once that's all in place, you nail it in. You want to put about 4 nails in the frame piece and about 4 nails in the upright piece. I'm going to take the clamp off for the last two, since it's all nailed together now. Good. To install the other upright, we have to move over to the corner of a desk. Hang your frame over the edge of a desk like this. Again, take your tape measure and measure back 15 inches from the front edge and make a good mark. Line up one of your last 18-inch pieces of 2x4 with the edge of the mark. And then with the clamp it down tight. If you can, try to do it right in the center of the board. A little tap right here will make sure everything is nice and tight together. Then you take the other 15 by 18 inch triangle of plywood. Again, line it up with the bottom of your frame and the edge of your upright and nail it in place. For this, I'd recommend nailing right here first. Nailing up near the top of the upright. And then the top edge of the lower triangle. Out near the front. At this point, I would take the clamp off because everything is nailed in place. And add a couple more nails. One at the top, one on the middle, and one on the bottom edge of the frame. And now our catapult is starting to take on a nice shape. Here we're going to pre-drill some holes to put on the cross piece that will stop the throwing arm and allow the catapult to really throw its projectile. To do that, we have to mark 4 places to drill holes that will be for putting the screws in to hold it in place. We're going to mark this just like we marked the 2 bases pieces. We're going to measure back 3/4 of an inch from the end in 2 places. We'll draw a straight line. Then we'll measure down 3/4 of an inch. Make a plus sign on that line. Do that from both sides. And do it at both ends. And then measure down 3/4 of an inch. With the marks for the pilot holes marked out, we will now clamp the board down and drill the pilot holes. Remember, start slow with the drill first. And then you can speed up once you have a little hole started. So start slow and then speed up. Flip it around and do the other end. And now this piece is ready to install. The cross piece is going to be installed at the top of the uprights. To do that, get your cross piece that you've just pre-drilled the holes on and your clamp. And use the clamp to hold it in place. Set it so it lines up at the top on both sides, and then tighten the clamp up. That'll get one hole ready to drill, or one screw ready to put in. Once you have the piece clamped in place, you can use the drill to put in the screw to hold it in position. Once that screw's done, pop off the clamp. It'll slide, that's okay. Move to the other side and line up the top of the cross piece with the other uprights. And woodworking clamps are your friends. They hold things tight and allow you to have extra hands. Tap it down so that the top is right, and tap it in a little bit so that all your surfaces are flush, which means smooth. And then once it's clamped in place, you can use the screw and drill to put the screw in place. Takes a lot of pressure. All right. And then you remove the clamp and screw in the other two. For these last two screws, you can turn the catapult upside down and drill from this direction. All right. Catapults originally were driven by wound up rope. That's what we're going to do here. To find the place to drill the hole to put the rope through, we need to measure back from the front of the catapult 6 inches and make a mark. And then from the bottom of the catapult, we're going to measure up 2.5 inches and make a mark. And that 2.5 inches up and 6 inches back, that's the spot where we want to drill a pilot hole for our big bit to follow. All right, I've got the 1/8 inch drill bit. I'm going to drill a hole all the way through on that mark. I've switched out the 1/8 inch drill bit with a 1 inch spade bit, and we'll use that to drill a 1 inch hole in the pilot hole we just drilled. Going slow will work a lot better on this hole. Put the tip in the hole you just drilled, turn the drill on. Takes a little force to push the hole through, but not a lot of force. Now repeat that exact process on the other side. Now it's time to work on the catapult's throwing arm. To do that, we need one 30-inch piece of 2x4. You have to drill a hole through the 2x4 the long way, which is a little bit tricky, so you have to be patient and drill slowly. The place for the hole is you mark back 2.5 inches from one end, and then you measure down 3/4 inch from the top of the board. Put a dot, and that dot will be the center of the board. You get a clamp to hold the board in place while you drill. And then you drill a nice steady hole using the 1/2-inch drill bit. You want to drill as straight up and down as possible. Partway through drilling, it's good to back the drill out so that any sawdust that's in there can get pulled out. Gently put the drill back in, push it near the bottom, pull back a little bit, start the drill going. All right. Now you have a nice 1/2-inch hole through your drill, through your throwing arm. Now we need to make a couple of washers to help wind up the catapult. To do that, get a milk jug or 2-liter bottle, and using the inside of a roll of tape, trace out a circle with a Sharpie. Turn the bottle over, find another section, and trace out another circle. We can cut these out with regular scissors. Good. Then using the inside of a roll of Scotch tape, draw a circle that's about 1 inch in diameter on both pieces. And then with a X-Acto knife, cut those out. Set the plastic on a scrap piece of wood and cut along the line. Do that to both pieces. And now your catapult is just about ready to come to life. It's time to string it. To do that, get a barbecue skewer and wrap some electrical tape around the tip of the skewer, and then wrap the tape tightly around the top of your rope. It takes 20 feet of this 1/4 inch rope. This will help us pass through all the pieces that we need to get it to work properly. So, to string your catapult, go through one washer, through the hole, through the throwing arm, out through the other side. Pull that almost all the way through. On this side, take one of your sticks and about 2 inches from the end, tie a couple of loops to hold the stick in place. Okay, that's good. Now, on the other side, we're going to string it through the washer all the way down. We're going to wrap it over. We're going to wrap the rope over the other piece of dowel. Pull that through. Pass this through the throwing arm again. through the hole and out through the washer. And pull all that through. At this point, you need to be a little bit careful not to disconnect it from this side because it will pull out. You don't need to be tight at this point, but it shouldn't be too loose either. This time have the rope go underneath the bar, the dowel. Have it go over the dowel, back through the hole, back through the throwing arm. This one's tight. Out, under the dowel, and pull that through. At this point, the hole we drilled is full of rope. So now we go in a over-under pattern to finish using up the rope we have here. So we're on the underside of the dowel, so pass it over the top of the dowel, pull all that through, go under the throwing arm, and then we will go over the top of the dowel on this side. Pull all that through. We'll go over the top of the dowel, under the dowel, and we'll go over the top of the throwing arm this time. Over the arm, and then under the dowel on the back side. Pull all that through. Again, we'll come up over the dowel, go under the throwing arm again, under the throwing arm, out the hole, over the dowel, and we go under the dowel, over the throwing arm, and then back under the dowel again on the far side. Then we will go over the dowel one last time. Side. We'll go over the dowel, or excuse me, over the throwing arm. Go back out under the dowel, wrap it around. So go over the dowel one last time, get it through, pull it out. And now this is tricky. If you can, you want to start tightening down the rope a little bit so it's not loose inside. So pull on as much as you can to get the tension out in it. You don't want the ropes too loose at this point, although they will stretch out. Okay. So we're going over. We are going to tie a couple of knots on the top side back here. These are called half hitches. Two on this side. Once those are in place, we'll come back to the other side. We'll tie a couple more half hitches. Then after this one, you're going to tie a third half hitch. You're going to put it on there like this. And then you're going to pass through the bundle of ropes. And that'll tighten it up really nicely. Okay, now we're ready to wind. Someplace along the throwing arm, we're going to attach the cup that holds the projectile, which in our case will be a tennis ball. Use a small plastic cup and a short 1-inch screw. Pull the catapult arm down, have a friend hold it in place, put the screw in the bottom, use the drill to attach the cup to. There's one last piece we need to add. As you tighten up the catapult, it squeezes the side pieces in. To help prevent that, we're going to add this last piece of 2x2. It'll just set in place tight. It won't need to be screwed in. It'll just be held in place by the tension on the rope. So to put it in, loosen your catapult. Set it just behind where the throwing arm holes are. You can tap it in place with a hammer. And now when you tighten up your catapult, it will not squeeze in anymore. It'll give you more power and allow you to throw things farther. All right, to wind the catapult, we're going to have to turn it around back and forth a couple of times. So we want the arm to lift up and throw this way. So on this side, we're going to have the catapult arm tightener go in a forward motion. So let's put about 1, 2 twists on it. Then we'll turn it around and get to the other side. This one also we want to have go in a forward motion. So we're going to put 2 twists on this. 1, 2. All right. Now, I'm going to put a 3rd twist on this side. And actually, a half a twist on that side. And a half a twist on this side. She's just about ready to go, but we're missing one thing. We're missing the throwing cup. Catapult is now ready to storm the castle. So you pull back on your throwing arm, load the catapult, and fire. Hope you enjoyed this video. Good luck.